Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. It's going to be another Raid Shadow Legends video. We've got a Faction War video today, episode 5. We're going to be on High Elves. High Elves, I guess, is probably the faction that more people cleared than anyone else. Why is that? Because you get yourself an Arbiter. An Arbiter is insanely good for Faction Wars. I'll come on to that in a while. Before we get into champions, let's just do the usual. What do we want in Faction Wars? I'm getting bored of saying it. You're probably getting bored of hearing it, but I'm going to do it in all the videos in case it's the only one you're going to watch. What we're looking for: AoE, decreased defense, ideally. If you can't get AoE, some form of decreased defense champion in your team so that you can bring down the defense of the enemies and hit them harder. Especially important when we get to later stages. Crowd control like stun, freeze, daze. Any way to stop the enemy having their turn provokes another good one. Stop the enemy using their main abilities, using all their buffs, nuking you down, force them to do something that you want them to do. A healer, a revive. This is where someone like an Arbiter comes in. She's so good at this. Heals your team, picks them up when they're dead. The only way you get 3 stars in Faction Wars is if all your team are alive at the end of the round. Obviously, you need some damage in your team. You can't just go in there with a load of wet noodles that are going to control the team, or it's going to be very long. And then lastly, it's helpful if you've got some turn meter control as well, whether it be slows, whether it be full turn meter depletion, any of that type of stuff really helps you in this game. So let's get into High Elves. High Elves is, as I say, probably one of the best factions in the game. Why is that? A few reasons, actually. You have some very good rares in High Elves. Much better than probably maybe any other faction. Apothecary. The best rare in the game. Fact. The best rare in the game. Fact. I don't think there's any other rare that I use in more high-end dungeons than this guy. Anytime I do a takeover, I'm looking for this guy. Fantastic rare. Mainly because of this. Increases speed. Big version. For 2 turns and fills turn meter. Constantly rotate that. He's got a good base speed as well. Constantly rotate that skill. Keep your guys running fast. It just lets everybody else in your team run fast and do damage. It also brings a heal on his A2, and it can be a crit heal. So it's a massive kind of heal. Can easily like 0 to 100% somebody with this heal if it's a crit. And it's got a free hit A1. It's a random, which is the only negative part about it, because if you're against people that are buffed themselves and maybe they put counter attack on, you might focus 1 and then it sprinkles out to 2 more and he gets a load of hits. But if you build this guy tanky and fast, you will have a good apothecary on your hands. So he's good. Elhain is good for damage, especially for the earlier levels, perhaps up to about level 12, 13. She can be really strong. So she's got a good, very good actually, base speed. She does kick out a lot of damage, AoE damage. That's going to help you get through some of those waves. Who else should I call out here? Hyria is actually quite good for a rare. She's bringing ally attack on her A3. So she brings 2 allies in for attacks. Means you can nuke down a single target. If you've got AoE champions on your team, she brings the AoE damage with her. So that's quite cool. She's also got this poison as well. So poison on bosses is always going to be good. So she's pretty good. Reliquary Tender's, again, one of my favourite rares in the game. She is void, but she is insane. Remember what I told you about Faction Wars? We need everybody to be alive at the end of the round. She's got a revive in her kit, so she can actually pick people up just before the end of the round. 5-turn cooldown and keep them alive. She also brings a cleanse, so she cleanses all debuffs from your allies and puts heals on them. Very good in a lot of situations where you've got things like decreased defense hitting you, weaken hitting you, poisons hitting you. A lot of the bosses do debuffs to you, so she can be really good for this. And she's got a decreased attack on her A1. Very good base stats, so she is a fantastic rare. In terms of the other ones, just kind of flicking through, nothing really too solid about her. Adjudicator. She's got a bit of turn meter control here, which is not terrible, but I wouldn't suggest kind of building her. Harris is, she's early game, I'd say. If you are early game, still do Faction Wars, and she could be useful to you there. Otherwise, not really strong enough. We do have a Revive on Death here for a target ally, but again, probably not a strong enough buff really to suggest building him up unless you're early game. Interceptor is an interesting one. Decreased speed on her A1. Good for bosses, actually. She does bring a sleep on an A2 and a weaken, but it's single target. And then she does have a decreased turn meter of all enemies on her A3, 5-turn cooldown. It's an average sort of set of stats. So they're the ones I'd call out then. Relic Pretender, Elhain, Apothecary. But where we get spicy with this group is we've got some great epics. Tyrell, AoE decreased defense, probably the best epic in the whole game, if not maybe top 5 definitely, but maybe the best. AoE decreased defense, decreased attack, big version on his A1, and drop turn meter and stun on his A3. Also brings defense aura, very good for faction wars. In fact, insane for faction wars. All of that kit is great. Royal Guard brings the slams, but difficult to keep alive, but a fantastic epic for faction wars. Fanassel, really good sort of healer support unit for faction wars. Brings increased defense and heal, and also has got the chance to remove some enemy buffs, and has got a sleep on an A1. All of that stuff is good for faction wars. Vergis now is actually top tier, and I don't have one built, which is a shame. Defense based, pretty good speed. He has got reflect damage on his A1, it's not that big. It is on all allies though. But he's got this now on his A2, which is kind of massive improvement. 3-turn cooldown if you land one book here. So continuous heal and increased speed on and reflect damage on a target ally. Also puts ally protection on all allies and increased defense on this champion. So basically what he's doing is he's throwing out protection, increasing his own defense so he takes less damage. Ally protection is actually a good form. It's almost like a reverse heal. He is supporting your team by stopping them taking too much damage. He's defense based, build his defense up high, and he will do a great job for you. He's also got this passive, which you can book down to a 1-turn cooldown, which is insane. Places a shield buff on this champion equal to 10% of their max HP. Go high on HP. Whenever this champion loses 10% or more of their max HP from a single hit, you get the shield. And then you can activate it, places continuous heal buff on this champion for 2 turns every time their HP... Sorry, this is passive, this is active. Every time their HP drops below 50%. So he's got a very cool passive, very cool team protection. He will be a hyper kind of tank for you, team protector. Very cool, really like him. Not too fussed about these two. Battle Sage can be pretty good. Attacks all enemies here. Bit of a cleanse here. And Revive on Death here. The main thing I like about this is you can put her in stun gear or sleep gear, and she will go in and stun up some of your enemies. So it's just quite nice. Good base defense, good base speed. So she is worth putting in your teams. That's probably it, I'd say, for the epics. The other ones are not so good. And then you've got a lot of good legendaries here. So Elenariel is decent, quite good damage, but she doesn't really have people to pair with her for faction wars. She needs poisons to blow up. She can put some of her own on, but she basically would benefit from more poisoners in this set. There's not many that I would suggest. Marksman maybe, but he's not so good on sort of multi-wave stuff. Shiramani, top tier for faction wars. She's got an AoE freeze. Freeze is one of the best debuffs in the game. And it fills turn meter for each champion that she attacks, which is fantastic as well. She heals your team on this ability, and then she's got an A1 which has got a chance to freeze as well. Free hitter, and she's got a faction crypt defense aura. Good base stats, very good champion here for faction wars. Ryanos, again, excellent for faction wars. AoE stun on his A3 here, and turn meter reduction. Amazing ability for faction wars. Block buff, single target on his A1. Great to just pick somebody out and say, you know what, Man-Eater, you cannot make your team unkillable. Something like that, amazing. And then we've got a attack one enemy 3 times on his A2 and ignore shield and block damage. So and as well as 50% of the target's defense. So it can just nuke someone down with this. Good base stats again, very good champ. Lisandra, insane champion for this as well. Speed, turn meter reduction. This is a really good faction, guys. Fully depletes turn meter on her A2. increased speed, and depletes turn meter on her A3. She's like a jumped up apothecary ready without a heal. Can transfer all of her debuffs from her to somebody else. So if you're in a boss fight, she can push those onto a boss. Good speed, one of the best in the game. All battles speed aura as well. Just all in all, insane. Raw Huntsman, single target nuker here with his A3, decreased defense on his A2, good base stats apart from the defense, good damage on his A1 as well. Again, very good champ. Yannicka has become a good champion as well. These legendaries are all good, guys. She's got a leech on her A1. As soon as anybody in your team attacks somebody under leech, they'll start to regain health. Very good for boss fights. Perfect Veil on her A2, and which makes her take less damage, and then attacks all enemies on her A3. So all in all, very cool. Good base stats as well. Ethos, I'm just building mine at the moment. Actually, she's not ready for this fight. Just pure damage. Pure damage. Quite difficult to keep alive. Very bad base defense. Not bad base HP. But it's got this ability here. Attacks all enemies. Always a crit. He will nuke people that have got decreased defense on with this. Free hitter. AoE again. Put this guy in stun set and probably just stun everyone all the time. Or you just go full damage and you nuke people down. Albeit, he's not going to be the best for boss fights. Because for boss fights, you need to keep people alive. Belinar, another good champion. Single target, decreased defense and weaken. Probably this is his best area, I'd say, Faction Wars. He gains benefits if he kills people. So, if he gets a crit here, he gives everyone else crit rate. If he kills somebody here, he gets increased defense himself. And if he kills someone here, will heal this champion for any surplus damage. He's got like a thing here for Xavier, but he's not with Xavier in the faction, which is weird to me. But all in all, good base stats will do well for you in Faction Wars. And Arbiter is the queen of Faction Wars, probably the best Faction Wars champion in the whole game. Or one of them. Revives all your team on her A4 and fills their turn meter. And then can go straight into this ability, which will heal them and increase their attack. And increase their turn meter again. So 2 turn meter gains and a revive. An A2 which removes 1 layer of buffs from the enemy, and she's got a weaken to cap it off on her A1. And she's free to play friendly in terms of you can actually win her. So insane champ. This doesn't come into effect here. Great base stats. So all in all, this is the faction where you've got a good chance, I would say. You've got a good chance of progressing far. No thank you, I don't want to buy stuff. So let me show you what I've got in my team. Who have I built up at the moment? Let me just get a couple out of the vault. I have got a surplus of great champions in this faction. This is the one faction for me where I've got insane setup. So I've got a very fast Arbiter, 300 odd speed, very good base defense. She's going to stay alive and then resurrect people. That's what she's there for. No damage here at all. She's all about defense and speed, keeping people alive. She does have some accuracy to land her drop buffs. I've then got a Shiramani in a shield set. Good base HP. She's protecting some of the rest of my team. I've just lost a banner on her here. Let me put that right. Perfect. I need the accuracy for the freeze. So she's got AoE freeze. Basically what I've done is I've just built her HP levels up so that this shield set actually means something. The only reason she's in a shield set is to keep people alive in my team. That's it, 100% of the reason. She does have some defense here because I do need some defense to keep her alive. But she is literally there to freeze and to bring a shield set. She also does a bit of healing. So I also bring in my Raw Huntsman. You see I've been pilfering the items for people. He's in there as a single target nuker. He is just going to do damage. Literally just going to do damage to the enemy. Try and take out one big tank. That's what I want him to do. I could do with a bit more accuracy in this build. You see here we've got crit rate, high, pretty reasonable crit damage. He's not in my best gear, guys. This is the thing with Faction Wars. These are my secondary sets. He's in good gear, but not my best gear. I'd rather actually was in an HP chest, if I'm honest, than a attack chest. So I lose tons of attack for doing this, but I'd rather he stays alive. So then I'd rather we have a bit more accuracy than this as well. This accuracy is way too low. So if I can get accuracy set doubled up here, keep the crit rate high, keep the speed pretty high as well. That feels good. I want the accuracy. See that 192? So he is good to go. I've got my Tyrell. Tyrell's in lifesteal gear to keep him alive. Good defense, good speed, good crit rate as well. This is a really solid build for a Tyrell. Good accuracy to land his decreased defense. So they're like a key 4. I then bring in one of my Royal Guards just to lay the nukes. Royal Guards are going to die probably 6 times in a fight, but they'll keep coming back because Arbiter's going to keep picking them up. And they will lay the nukes all day long. So that's going to be my team. Let's get into showing you what some different levels do. I guess we'll start just by showing you the boss for level 7. You see here it's already set up as I've just said. Same champs that I said there. Let's go into it. Let's get into this one. So this is the first one I ever free-starred the whole lot. Level 7 I can just kind of breeze through it, to be honest, because I totally outgear it. Just get myself through to the final boss and then I can show you what he does. So, right. This is the boss then. He's got the chance to put fear on everybody. The chance grows when he steals buffs from you. He's got an AoE which steals buffs, and that's what improves his A1. This is on a 3-turn cooldown. So basically what will happen here is you need to manage your buffs and manage your debuffs. So this is on a 3-turn cooldown. So basically what you do is you wait until he's used his ability. You then throw your buffs up, which hopefully for 2 turns. You throw your debuffs up, you do all your damage, and then you let them drop off, let him have his turn, and then you do it again. You recycle. So you need to manual it. If you don't manual it, you're going to be giving him buffs and you're going to be taking your own debuffs constantly. You want to focus down the ads first. Once the ads are down, because this guy taunts, and basically once the ads are down, you then focus him. You'll bring his health pool down. He will use this ability on a 12-turn cooldown, still your high health, and that will use one of his turns up. He doesn't tend to use it until he's at about a quarter health. So you could get him to around here and then nuke. You'll be lucky to kill him doing that, unless you've got good gear. What I tend to do is kill the ads, controlling my buffs and debuffs in the right sort of turn cycle for this. Ideally, you have some sort of cleanse or block buffs in your team, but that's quite hard in this faction. So you might take a couple of fears. But fear's not too bad. True fear is the bad one. Fear's not too bad. You can still try and use your abilities. Once this happens, you've then got 12 turns to kill him. Still managing your debuffs and buffs, but basically once he's got the once this has been used, you then go in for the kill. So that's how you deal with this boss. You can decrease his turn meter. It's really effective against this boss. And you can slow him, which again is very effective against this boss. Let's go into stage 14 and have a look at this one. Again, I should just outpower the waves pretty comfortably. I don't have as many AoE based champions in this setup, but I've got a lot of damage in this setup. See that single target nuke, bang. Decreased turn meter on A1's really important. Royal Guard brings in some pain. Not really. I'm just kind of doing this pretty. I'm not even really thinking what I'm doing because I just outpower it. I could easily just auto it through actually. I should be faster. Okay, so on to the boss then. What does this boss do? This is the boss. This boss is actually quite tough. So he's got attacks all enemies on his A1, 40% chance to fear. Pretty annoying. He's got revive dead allies with full HP, places a sleep buff on this champion for 1 turn, so on himself. So basically if you kill the ads, he's going to keep reviving them. and then he's got attack one enemy with two random allies and places block damage on himself. Again, it's pretty annoying. The actual best way you can deal with this boss is by keeping both ads alive, healing through the damage, but keeping the two ads, if you can, CC'd. So if you can provoke them, if you can stun them, if you can sleep them, if you can fear them, if you can freeze them, you will do much better on this boss. And you just focus all of your damage on the main boss. So you try and get decreased defense and weaken on him. He doesn't have any sort of cleanse. A1 will, with turn meter drops, would be helpful here. And you just literally wail in. But you bring somebody, obviously Shiramani's a legendary, but anyone that's got crowd control, bring them in, throw the AoE freeze out there, and try and freeze people up. Freeze these ads, so that when he does ally attack, he's not going to be coming at you with the whole team. Turn meter drops again on everybody's A1s on your masteries will help, just to keep him low. And then, so you can use things like Tayrell's A3 to stun. Watch this. Stunned, frozen. Now when he has a turn with his ally attack, which is what he's going to try and do, these allies will not come at us, basically. That's what's going to happen. So so that's this boss. He's actually not that bad to deal with. Turn meter control on him is very helpful, and CC on the ads. That's basically what you need. If you've got those two things in your team, then you will be able to beat this boss. So let's get on to the main event then. Level 21. As I say, first one that I ever cleared. Very difficult level to clear. It requires a lot of your patience, I would say. So what I do here is same thing I'll do with any faction wars. Try and get decreased defense down early across the board. I've got a choice here. I can either go for a nuke on one target, which I probably want to do maybe on the Broadmoor. Broadmoor's got the ability to res. So I could just try and take him out. 70k is not bad. I'm in a bit of problems here, so I'm going to go AoE freeze. I don't want to get a load of people coming at me. I then bring the nuke in from the Royal Guards. A few weak hits. Affinity's not great here. So we've got 1, 2, 3 frozen. Mazza going on this Drake. Drop his turn meter a bit. She'll do a kind of drop turn meter across the board. I'm going to try frozen, 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 frozen. This is the only threat that can move. So I'm going to try and drop his turn meter. See that? And then we're just going to go in on him for now. Try and get the weaken out as well. Got it. It's nice. So what have we got here? Frozen, frozen. I still want to kill him first. I'm going to go in with the A3, which will drop speed if it lands. Hits on a few. Got 1 drop speed. Getting close to the point where I want to start saving. I still want to recycle turns as quick as I can. I want to get this freeze back before I move on to the next wave. So we're going to start killing people off, but not quickly. I'm just going to keep threats at bay. Don't really want Vrash to start healing, so I'm going to try and take him out next. Just trying to keep people at bay whilst taking them down one by one now. See this? So perhaps we'll go in here and try and get a weaken off. Didn't get it. Try and get a freeze. 1 freeze there, that's good. Try and drop turn meter, I guess, here. Didn't get it, but I've got a decreased attack, so he's not going to hit me as hard. Still going to try and drop his turn meter, though. So see that? Got 1 shot. 1 shot on this guy. That's the danger of faction wars when you've got attack-based champions in your team. Going to pick him up. Still saving this. I've got a freeze here, so I'm just going to try and take this Drake out. I can do my freeze. That's a 5-turn cooldown now. I don't really want to use it. So I'm not going to use it. Just going to try and take this guy out before he comes and kills Royal Guard again. You'll see my Royal Guard dies plenty of times in faction wars. He's actually a bit of a liability. I've almost got my freeze back. Gonna drop that turn meter again. Didn't get it. Loads of weak hits going in. I'm actually in danger already here. AoE drop defense. I think I'm going to go for the... I kind of need to save that nuke. He's probably going to die again in a minute. Saving the freeze. The freeze now is for next turn. I'm just going to take him out, hopefully, yeah. So he's going to die, fine. I'll pick him up next go, that's okay. Actually, picking somebody up at the start of a turn is not the worst thing in the world because you can gain quite a bit of turn meter for the rest of your team doing that. But that's the danger of a Royal Guard. It's very difficult to keep alive. So here we go. We've got a wave now, which is quite tricky to deal with. We've got somebody that makes their whole team unkillable. Very tanky setup. Decreased defense and weakened coming at you. So this is a hard team to beat. Decreased defense on nice and early. Try and drop someone. I probably want to try and drop the Man-Eater, I guess. Norog would be a good candidate as well. Freezes on 3 of them, that's not bad. I now change my focus because I've got 3 of them frozen, so I probably want to... Maybe Jarang. Jarang's quite annoying. Royal Guard comes in, hopefully we'll hit. Pretty good hit. I'm going to heal up. Going to drop the Norog turn meter. I think he's the most annoying out there. Try and kill this guy as quickly as I can. I'm going to go AoE now, get some damage out. Keep us moving quick, keep our attack up. Try and slow them down. Hopefully freeze somebody. You know, any sort of CC here is good. We're going to get an AoE hit coming in from that Norog in a second. Probably going to kill my Royal Guard again. Oh, it didn't actually. Okay. Man-Eater's down, so he can't make anyone unkillable. He's frozen, so he's cool. Let's just try and deal with this Drake. I think it's Dracomorph, actually, which is worse. Dracomorph's a bit of a nightmare. I'm going to speed up. I've got to start recycling these cooldowns again for when we get to the next stage. So we're through that one. He can do quite a big hit. He can probably one-shot my Royal Guard, but I'm not too fussed about that. I don't want Steel Skull healing up. And then we're just getting our cooldowns back for the next turn again now. So everything's kind of going okay. If I did this on auto, would I do it? Probably, but it would be way more dangerous. Way more dangerous. So on to the next wave. I think we've got most stuff back. Maybe we haven't got the freeze quite yet. So this boss then, last boss. He's the guy that has got chance to provoke 2 of your team on the A1. Attacks all enemies and puts true fear on them on the A2. This is really annoying. And there's got a passive that every time you hit him, he's got a chance to freeze you. He doesn't have any sort of heal mechanic. You can control his turn meter. You can slow him. So what I try and do here is take the ads out as quickly as I can or freeze them so that they're not doing buffs. These 2 both buff their team, their boss. And just control the damage that's coming into me. Try not to use my big abilities when True Fear hits me. And let's see how we get on. Tough fight though, this one. So I'm going to save his turn meter drop for now. I'm going to try and get decreased defense across the board. I'm going to try and just nuke one of these ads. I think I probably want to nuke her. Look how much health they've got. So we're going to get the freeze out. Hopefully freeze these ads. Froze one of them. AoE nuke from the Royal Guard. Pretty decent hits. Even if I speed up here, I'm not going to beat him to an attack. So I might as well just go in and try and get drop turn meter on her. Here comes the True Fear. So True Fear is on. I do not want to use 2 turns as well. It's actually pretty brutal. I don't want to use any big abilities with cooldowns because there's a 50% chance I lose them. She's got an increased speed on the boss, which is annoying. Just want to take her out. Double freeze though, that's good. 4 turn cooldown, I can't afford to use it. See, I would have lost it there. That's on a 4 as well. Again, I can't afford to use it. Just going to keep trying to take these ads down slowly but surely. I'm not really in any threat of dying as it stands. So as long as I keep these ads under control, take a hit here. Don't forget I've got my Arbiter that can pick people up. We've still got True Fear on for another turn here. So I'm just going to keep going. Oh, it's meant to be on the ad. No, I did that. So, right, I've got drop turn meter. I'm going to drop the boss's turn meter so I can deal with these ads. Dropped it right back down. Oh, she's got provoke on her. Okay. Do I need to use my heal? Maybe I should use my heal. Keep the Royal Guard topped up. AoE hits. Try and drop defense. AoE again. Got a sleep off here. This is good. Just trying to try. This boss definitely gets a turn here, and she gets a turn before I do anything. I still think I'm going to speed up. I can't kill her with a single shot, so I might as well speed up and just try and get buffs on, and sort of get closer to my next set of turns. Try and take her out again. These boss fights are slow, guys. They're hard. Even since they've done the nerf, they're still hard. He's taking all of the provokes, which is quite annoying. Probably going to lose. I haven't lost my Royal Dodge yet. It's close. Look how many people are provoked up here. It's quite annoying. But we're going to take her out. So one ad down. And I feel like I've almost done it. As soon as I take the second ad out, I'm pretty much there. Keep people moving quick. A bit of healing going on. Just A1s until we get these True Fears off again. So both ads are down. Now we can start going to town on the boss. So we try and get our weaken on, which we've got. He can't cleanse it in any way. Doesn't have any form of cleanse. We're not even fussed about him being nearly dead because our Arbiter can pick him up. Freeze will not work. Will freeze work here? Is he immune to freeze? No, he's immune to freeze. So freeze won't work. Just go in with the A1s. Drop his defense hopefully here. I'm going to try it because we've only got the boss to deal with now. Did come off, so that's great. So we've got decreased defense and weaken on. So we're going to do a lot more damage to this boss. Heal us up. At this stage now, I've basically won. I don't think I can lose this fight. It's just going to be a matter of time. Even if he provokes us, even if he does damage, even if we get frozen, it would take a lot of kind of really bad RNG now for me to lose. My only threat from 3 stars is Royal Guard. Everybody else is pretty comfortable with their defense levels. We're going with the big hit. This should be a decent one. Not bad, 95k. I've actually, when I've had him geared really well, he's been hitting for over like 200k in this fight, but he's in less good gear right now. Keep the hits going in. I could probably auto at this stage. I could probably auto and still pretty comfortably do it. But there's a chance I would lose one of my team. I don't really want to do that. But you can see now, there's really very little threat. True Fears go on. I've just got to A1 my way through them. It's really annoying. 50% chance you're not going to do anything. But again, it's 3 turn cooldown. I'm going to try it. Didn't get it. So he's down. That's bit frustrating, but I can just pick him up again. I'm going to save the heal for when he gets off the ground. Keep the weaken on, keep decreased defense on, and slowly but surely you'll get through it. If you don't have your Arbiter yet, then Reliquary Tender can do the same thing I've just done there. So I'm actually going to try and put the slow on him and drop turn meter. Resisted it all. I might have my wrong Royal Guard in here thinking about it. I do have one who is... who's got better accuracy and one that doesn't. Feels like I've got the one that's got bad accuracy in here. Anyway, over halfway down. Slowly but surely, guys, he is going to be dropping. Another 100k off his health. Sort of 3 of the main debuffs on him, so you know he's doing less damage than he should be because of those. And we're long into a fight, yes, but then Faction Wars is tough. And it's meant to be tough. So I guess it'd be quite cool. Leave a comment below. Have you done this faction? Is this the only one you've done, or have you got several? Did you find this one the easiest to do, or actually is there others that you'd say were easier than this faction in terms of level of champions that you've got in your pool? For me, definitely this was the first one I did and the easiest one that I find, and it's also one that I generally farm on auto stage 20 because it's just so much quicker, but I could do this one on auto. I might lose people, it doesn't matter. Once you've got your 3 stars, it doesn't matter if you lose people really. So I might lose people on auto, but I could do it on auto with the setup I've got. But you see, it's Faction Wars at the high level is quite a big investment of your time. So I get my 3 stars and I generally will just drop a level or 2 just to get my easy kind of glyphs. But I have been trying to push for higher level glyphs because my for arena you kind of need those high level glyphs. But it's actually, this boss I don't find too bad compared to some of the other ones. This one's probably the one I find most easy to deal with. His mechanics are relatively simple to deal with. And we're probably going to end up finishing it about 15 minutes. As long as you bring that decreased defense, you've got your weaken as well, hopefully. And yeah, it's just a matter of time. Just go A1s, get through these true fears. This is going to be about it. If you've got Warmaster on all your champions, you've got... Oh, man, I lost him right at the end. It could have been bad. There we go, 14 minutes. Here's what it is. And that is stage 21. So that's been my High Elves Faction Wars video. Hope you've enjoyed it, guys. I'll catch you soon.